Hi everyone and welcome to the Limited Adhesion Round 2, Race 3 and 4 of Oulton Park. I'm Jordan Johnson, I'm here with my co-commentator Will Burnett. How are you?
I'm doing alright, Jordan, on this brisk 26-degree day in Oulton Park, watching TCR cars go around. What could be better?
Absolutely. It looks like we're going to be missing the chance of rain that Oulton has had a terrible history for, all the crashes down at the chicane that is so, well, famous. Charles Rainford is leading the standings here, followed by Dom Parker, James O'Reilly, Thomas Robin, and Stephen Greening. Rounding off the grid, we have Charlie Lanebridge, Shane Abbott, Sam Stott, David Leclerc, Oliver Walker, Patrick Autrickley, Michael Messenger, Chris Wade, G. Richards, Stephen Cakebread, Oliver Ettridge, Marin Hukeman, Helen Mitchner, Grant Bardsley, Will Burnett, and that is the last of our points finishers from the previous round. We have a couple newcomers, but CCK Motorsport leads the championship with its strong race 1 and 2 from last week at Knock Hill, followed by Lesser Tools Limited, LSR, Wizards of Liston Coast, Risky Racing Blue, KRS, Ars Racing, CC Racing, and then Risky Racing Orange, the sister team, a few positions down the grid. Starting off, we have on pole, Charles Rainford with a stunning lap, 6/10 ahead of Michael Messenger, followed by David Leclerc, Graham Bardsley, and Oliver Ettridge rounding out the top 5. So we get ready to go racing. Here's the rest of your qualifying grid. And we have Sam Stott and Adrian King at Reese de Creighton, failing to set a qualifying time. Wonder what happened with them. As we get ready to go green, the lights are going to be on. The revs are going to start kicking up. You see a little bit of a wiggle from Charles Rainford. And perhaps it looks like we are sitting on the grid still.
I think we're still gridding.
Oh, no.
Goodness me, you're very raring to go. You're jumping the gun almost.
Perhaps I need a 30-second stop and go as everyone's ready to go. And we have the 5 red lights up, ready to go. Revs kicking up as we get ready to launch these cars. Charles Rainford with a decent start, followed up by Michael Messenger sneaking up his inside. We could be going 3 wide into turn 1 as Michael gets the inside. And we have a little bit of contact chaos down the field into turn 1.
It was bound to happen. Bound to happen. Knock Hill is goodness me, I'm 2 weeks overdue there. Donington Park is a notorious track for turn 1 instability with the cold tyres and a pretty rear-happy nature of these TCR cars. As we now move down to the fast left-hander, will we lift? Will we see any action? Not apparently. Into now one of the most technically difficult corners on this course. The hairpin. Hug the inside. Gently feeding the throttle and full throttle on the way out. Looks like we're snaking our way through relatively clean now. A bit of a gap towards the rearmost cars, but everyone's still within at least a second of each other. The hairpin as well. This is not really a hairpin. It's more of a jump over the inside curve and then a right turn. So yeah, it looks like they're handling it pretty well. Again, single file grid for now as people sort of shake out the cold tyres, get it warmed up and into the race.
Yes, absolutely. And really, all these chicanes, they feel like a hairpin as they're quite tight, but most of them involving quite a bit of track cutting. So we're going to see a little bit of a bump and shove coming through with the TCRs as you always would expect, but maybe we're going to be bump and shoving the track limits a little bit further away than they might be used to. So we're making the run into the fast right to close the first lap. It looks like your order is going to be Charles Rainford, Michael Messenger, and David Leclerc as we have someone going off on the fast right. Can they bring it back on track? We might see a replay of that coming back as the order stays mostly the same. A couple cars, a little bit of push and shove in the final corner as we close this first lap.
Side by side there by the two, I forgot what team they are, but the blue and orange cars there. And of course, looks like Charles Rainford is just beginning to run away. Yet again, it is lap 2 and he's already got a 0.8 second lead from Messenger.
Yes, absolutely, but it looks like the 4th position car, Shane Abbott, actually set the fastest lap of the race on that lap 1, so don't put Chris out. He could have some competition coming in here as the Risky Racing cars. It looks like the orange and blue teams are having a little bit of intra-team rivalry going into the fast left, and perhaps we're going to see a dive here into the hairpin.
Indeed. Will we see heartbreaking tears, though, as the blue and orange teams come together to form some awful sort of like brownie colour, I believe, what happens when you mix those on the palette?
Yeah, it's like a cheap knockoff version of Reese's, except someone forgot to include the brown and replaced it with an aquamarine blue. So we might need to reach out to their marketing department and see what they were thinking there. But as we are going to be closing into the chicane for the second time, looking like we're going to have no moves. It's just going to be the risky racing cars keeping close together, maybe giving each other a little bit of a push as we have a move with Gavin Kelly into the chicane. Nice and clean. Cleanest move you're going to see all race, hopefully. We want to see a little bit of that classic TCR chaos moving down the field.
That was about as textbook as it gets into the chicane there. On the inside, outbreaks him, and then gets good traction through the corner. Graham Belty now from the Woke Kings. Looks like the two Woke Kings cars are trailing each other, and this might be a bit of a fight there from Langers, I believe. Is another exceptionally fast driver, so watch out, Graham, and watch out, Gareth.
Yes, and I think at this point it is probably worth mentioning that Graham is down 10 positions from the start of the race. Perhaps he was caught up in that turn 1 collision, as it looks like he might have a bent rear wing and a little bit of damage on the rear of that car. It looks like he might have been the innocent victim in the race start.
Quite possibly the damage is consistent with a outside rear right quarter hit into the first turn, so we'll see how it goes. Anyway, gently through the first corner there, looks like Charlie is closing on Graham and Gareth. Gareth potentially might have to yield the position here to his teammate if the team want to score some good points here, but so far holding it well. Update from the rest of the grid, looks like we are pretty much from starting order in the top few, so we've got Ray Meslek, not Leclerc. He's definitely not in our league. That would be very cool to see him. And then Mr. Ettridge of the Ettridge Cup, of the Oliver Cup fame, followed by Greening and Parker. Or it's PAR. I don't know who PAR is. I've forgotten. I don't even know my own grid.
As we saw, Gareth actually was letting by Graham Bardsley, and Charlie Landridge got by in the process. It looks like he's going on a charge. Perhaps that damage has still not still dragging the confidence of Graham down a little bit. So we might see a move going down to that chicane, but we switch over to Oliver Walker, who's defending from James O'Reilly, who's on a strong charge, up 5 positions from the start of this race.
Yeah, fantastic. Let's also not discount Dom as well. Dom in P7, up 6 positions from the start of the race. Potentially looking to salvage his P2 in the championship for this one. We'll see how that goes for Dom. He's got a long way to climb and actually quite a short race. Only 20-minute races, remember guys, these here. 2 sprint race formats. So just like British touring cars, the second race will have a randomly selected reverse grid between positions 1 and 12. So if you really want to be sneaky about it, you should finish P6, then you're pretty much, I think you're median guaranteed a reverse grid, unless you're very unlucky.
Yes, and as we jump on with David Leclerc, he's chasing down Michael Messenger, his last lap 5/10 faster than the man in P2, as Dom Parker with the Wizards of Lift and Coast, naturally lifting and coasting through all these corners as he's down in P7. I'm sure he wants to be putting that pedal to the metal if he wants to get further up the grid, continuing his strong charge as he's up 6 positions, but he's still got a gap to climb to Stephen Greening up front.
I won't be lifting and coasting here, Dom. It's only a 20-minute race. It's not 12 hours of Sebring. Come on. Crack on, lads. Right, looking now at David Lechillier just there through the hairpin. Again, at night, these cars do look good going through the hairpin, like the suspension bouncing and the leading into the outside of the corner. Very cool to see. Charging now onto Messenger, it looks like, in P2. So will we see a Lechillier and Le Chatelier? I don't know. I don't speak French. My apologies to my continental brethren over the channel. But yes, I am butchering your language as I normally do. But yeah, it looks like a good battle. And here is, looks like Ettridge now closing on Greening in front. Goodness me, is Greening overtaking Ettridge, or am I reading this completely wrong?
I believe Ettridge and Greening are the two. Yes, so it's Abbott that is getting overtaken here by the risky racing cars. He's putting a nice defense into the final corner here, but he's going to have a bad run as he goes a little deep. Oliver Ettridge is going to try to file back into him, but he should have an overlap going into turn 1 here, but no, he's going to be forced to file back in. And that Audi, keep in mind, has a little bit less nimbleness going through the corners, but it has a higher top speed that Hyundai needs to really stretch its legs now. This is going to be the part of the course where he's going to have the biggest advantage.
Yeah, indeed. The Audi's also one of the fastest cars off the line as well. Good low-end acceleration, lots of torque in that engine. It is quicker than you think it is. I know. And then of course you've got the poor Honda Civic here. The bastard child of this particular league. Bless its little heart. It tries. It's the best looking car, and I will fight anybody who dares to even oppose that thought. And its little Civic looking. Oh, here we go. And speaking of the Civic, there was I believe Nathan Parker with Team Pink Panthers just coming up. Looks like the back of the grid behind Malone, though Parker is up 2 positions from the start, so he looks like he managed to dodge the chaos at turn 1, lap 1.
Yes, but it's worth mentioning that Honda Civic is a little bit of a sensitive one with that stiff suspension. It really doesn't like the bumps to add on to its woes that have been hurting it throughout the performance. You're just going to see an Audi and Hyundai dominated field at the top here, as it looks like Shane Abbott is beginning to stretch his legs a little bit in front of Oliver Ettridge and Stephen Greening here. These risky racing cars might need to consider a swap of position if they're to take this battle to the front.
Yeah, definitely. Could we see some team tactics begin to develop throughout this league, or do we think there's going to be pretty much friendly fire and bloodlust from everybody? I will admit the liveries on this grid are spectacular looking. It reminds me a lot of the BTCC, as I said before. The grid, not necessarily the cars, but certainly the nice colourful liveries and the rather inventive UK-based puns names. I mean, I believe the Pink Panther car is quite literally sponsored by Halfords, which befits its reputation as a Halfords car. I'm not sure if the Americans have a similar sort of like Yobbo car. It used to be the Subaru in the UK, but now it certainly is a Civic.
Yep, and so you see a little bit of the weaving coming from the Risky Racing blue car of Stephen Greening, but they've been held up enough that Dom Parker has now brought himself back up into the fray. He's looking to increase his lead. He's got 3 positions right in front of him that are ripe for the picking. So Dom looking to go up 9 positions as the Risky Racing cars. Oliver Ettridge defending to the inside. It doesn't look like team tactics are going to play a part in this race, as Marin Hugavin is now leading Gavin Kelly into the hairpin, chased by Charlie Landridge. Going to be trying to make a good run coming out into the chicane here. Gavin just needs to stick tight. He's not going to get a pass into this first chicane, and it's too tight anyways to even take a look. It's all about that chicane down at the bottom of the hill, and it looks like Gavin has a good run through here. We could have a fight going in. Marin is hugging the middle of the road, taking his spot, and Gavin's going to be set the long way around through the chicane here. You're going to see a deep dive on the brakes as Gavin thinks better of it. He knows that the outside is going to be dangerous if he gets squeezed into the tire barriers, as Marin holds on to the position for another lap.
Very important to say that Charlie and Andrew there did just catch both Merrin and Gavin there by about, I think, a second due to that battling. Merrin looks like went deep into the first chicane, which cost him the run out of it. And again, looks like a bit deep into that corner as well. Goodness me. Obviously driving the socks off that car, but it is definitely looks like a Hyundai triplet there being chased by a Civic. Bless. But yeah, that was some good driving there. But now Charlie is in the mix, looking maybe to pass Gavin here, as I believe looks like Merrin will be absolutely clapping his hands there as Gavin is there having to defend instead of attack him. And a car off there at the back as well. Who was that?
I think that could have been, was that Burke? In the P16 car, looks like someone a little bit further down the order. I can't get a name on that exactly as I didn't find a number. As we see Oliver Ettridge possibly getting a dive here into the hairpin. We're going to see Abbott is going to get a nice defense. Oliver's going to need to settle. He's, again, just like Gavin, he's going to have to settle himself down for the first chicane, set himself up for the bottom part of the hill. But Dom Parker's ready. He has the pressure. He's going to be putting it all over Greening. And here he gets a poor run out. So it looks like Dom's going to have to settle for yet another lap. And the frustration's got to be building here. We know these TCR cars are known for having a lot of contact. Perhaps we're going to see a little bit of tempers flare, but they all have to keep the back of their mind. The top 10 or 12 are going to be inverted for the second race, so they need to keep themselves clean, and they need to stay within that top group of positions and not knock themselves out.
Yeah, certainly. So the way the grid works, as I understand it here, for the second race, is there is a random lottery draw. Never mind, it looks like that was deep there from Shane Abbott into the final or second to last corner there, which has allowed Ettridge to potentially get a pass here into the final corner. Well defended there, well defended from Shane, but it's going to compromise his exit, and I think we might see a Ettridge v Abbott first corner now. Will he get the overlap? Might think better of it. Yeah, thinks better of it. I mean, the first corner is quite difficult to overtake into. It's a bit of a risky move, a bit of a gamble. Might be looking to wait into a chicane or maybe even the hairpin, especially if Abbott makes another mistake like that.
Yes, but you do know who you're talking about. This is the Risky Racing boys, and they have all the risk to gain here because they have Dom Parker pushing them from behind, so they need to be making some moves. And it looks like we're going to get a side-by-side move through the kink and going into Island here. So Shane Abbott and Oliver Ettridge are going to be going side-by-side. A little bit of contact, and Abbott's off track. Oh, he's going to be way too deep into the corner, and that's Abbott's race. That is a large hit. His wheel flew off. And that's the risk we were talking about, Oliver, with a little bit of contact. Perhaps we're going to see something about that in the steward's report. That was a little bit naughty.
Yeah, indeed, that was slightly, can I say, too risky.
Well, we do have a duo. We do have a duo of Risky Racing cars here, so I'll allow it for now. But Dom's going to be thinking now. These Risky Racing cars are ready to fight tooth and nail, but these are the positions that he is going to be fighting the rest of the race for. And one thing to keep in mind is these guys, if they do not crash out, are going to be fighting next to each other for the rest of the second race. It's very important that he stamps his authority now, and if he does want to get these positions, he's going to have to do it soon.
Absolutely. Dom here is in pretty much one of the best positions on this grid. He's in P6. He's climbed 7 positions now. Looks like we're seeing an Ettridge and Greening fight there in the first corner, with Greening, looks like, going up. This could give Dom and Abbott... Oh, not Abbott, sorry. Abbott has been killed. Rip Abbott. This could give Dom and maybe Rob a run on the inside. Looks like Dom is going for it on the inside. That is a brave move. He made it stick though, but I think that may have compromised his exit potentially, as you have to take a much tighter line, a lot more steering lock on through there. Interesting. This is one of the closest battles I've seen in the LOA. Never mind touring cars.
Yes, but again, we do have the touring cars. They know that they have a little bit more room that they can play with this a little bit bump and shove. It's not like the F3 cars where we're watching a small tap would rip off a front wing. These are, again, the touring cars of the day, and they're going to use everything they can. We've already watched Oliver Ettridge throw off Shane Abbott, so we know the danger is there. It's just all about who is going to be willing to use it. We have now David Lectillier chasing down Michael Messenger. The gap is only sat at 1.2 seconds. It looks like this gap might go on to the reverse grid race. They might not just be fighting for this race, but they could also be fighting for next race, because they're going to be equally matched if they're 15 minutes into this 20-minute race, and we still have only a mere second between them. As we see Stephen Greening now is trying to push Oliver Ettridge through, and they're going to have a little bit of a side-by-side moment through the right-hander here.
This is dangerous.
You could see this could end in tears. We already know what happened before. Oliver Ettridge keeps it through. Stephen Greening thinks better of it. We have a side-by-side move. We're going to be going into the last corner side-by-side. Dom Parker is going to be pushing as well. Dom sees his opportunity. This is the only shot he's had all race so far. Oliver Ettridge is going to be forced on the wide line, and now he's side-by-side with Dom. As Stephen Greening gets through, we have 4 cars in 1 second. We're going into turn 1. Oliver Ettridge giving a little bit of a flash, maybe trying to get Steven to hold up the rest of the cars, and Dom is still side by side.
This is absolutely insane. This left-hander now, okay, Dom very sensibly slipping behind for this left-hander. It definitely is a single-file corner unless you are a madman, as the Rescue Racing people have shown themselves to be. But now this is a problem, because we've got, looks like Thomas Robin now, side by side, maybe past Dom. Oh, that was an interesting place to let them by as a lap car. Goodness me, that was late in the brakes for the lap car there to let that lead pack through. But this position, 4 through 7, maybe even 4 through 8 now, as Ollie Walker joins the party, is some of the closest and best racing I've ever had the pleasure of watching. Goodness me, I'm actually on the edge of my seat. I'm leaning into my monitor. Wow, this is just incredible. Into the next hairpin now, cleanly through here, looking for a good exit so we can hopefully avoid the chaos of the second hairpin if any attempts are made there. Yep, looks like we're through nicely. Done with a partial bit of momentum, I think, on Ettridge perhaps. But yeah, looking good through the second hairpin. Okay, now it's all about a good exit out of this next corner. Tricky corner on the edge of grip. Looking to accelerate early and pull yourself out in these front-wheel drive cars. Down now to the fast right-hander before the hairpin.
Yes, and we saw Dom had a little bit of a run, but perhaps he's now thinking of the safe game. There's only 2.5 minutes actually left in this race. He knows that if he stays behind these risky racing cars, he will have the track position in the second race. So perhaps he's thinking of the long run. He does have good pace to keep in front of Oliver Ettridge if he can get in front of him, but every opportunity he's had has just been squandered, and it looks like even Dom is going to get blocked by the team game of Oliver Ettridge. So we now see Thomas Robin sneaking in under the rear wing, and they are nose to tail, full and full. There is not but a piece of paper between each of these cars. Perhaps there is a little bit of fight left in Dom and Thomas, and they're just going to try to find the extra scrap in this race.
Absolutely, Dom cannot slow down. He can't take it easy. He can't just cruise to the end here in a very comfortable P6. He has to fight for this P6. Thomas Robin is right on his arse, sniffing the rear end of that exhaust there, getting high on the fumes, on the carbon monoxide coming out of that lovely Hyundai there. Will we see any silly moves, any silly business, or are these people just content to sit where they are? Looks like Note of Now Greening is managing to sort of get a bit of a gap on Ettridge now. Leading him away, so we won't see any more risky racing, team games, or tomfoolery there, despite the amazing side-by-side we had a few laps earlier. Looking now at Gareth Winslade of the Woke Kings, closing on Jaden Burke. This could be an interesting battle within 0.3 seconds of each other as we exit the hairpin. What do we think, Jordan?
Well, it looks like Jaden has had quite a calm race. It's now looking at finally heating up in the last minute here. He's been equal on positions, but Gareth is going to be pushing. He's certainly been chasing down positions after having such a rough start. Or sorry, no, that was Graham Bardsley that had the drop. So Winslade's actually a hard charger right now, so perhaps he's looking to sneak in, and that lottery could push him into that final finishing position for that reverse grid, as Jaden Burke is going to be chasing down P12. He doesn't really have any more positions, but now we have Charles Rainford starting the final lap, coming through turn 3. What can I say? It's been such a dominant run for him, as you see a little bit of a wiggle in the rear end of the car. It's been absolutely non-stop this race. I don't think he's been challenged by anyone.
I mean, what can we say? He just checked out.
Naturally, as we see, Charles Rainford has brought home the win with a 7-second gap to Michael Messenger and David Letellier. Stephen Greening leading that exciting risky racing 1-2 of the P4 and 5 positions to run through the rest of our grid, from everyone from Shane Abbott down, unfortunately being a lap down with that contact. Amazing that he was actually able to bring the car back into the race.
Yeah, what a fantastic race that the P4 to P8 battle with Walker joining in right at the end there was just simply incredible. Moving now into race 4, which is the second race of this session. So, would be great to have been told which particular grid position was flipped there, but looks like we're going straight into things. I'm not going to insult the audience saying you can't read, so apologies there for missing that part of the grid, but this should be even more special because that grid flip will have put, it looks like, the Risky Racing pair in P3 and P4.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure which positions were flipped or how, but it looks like we have quite a mix-up of the grid. A bunch of Risky Racing cars, 3 in fact in the top 7 or 8 cars it looks like, as we start getting our grid lined up. So we have Thomas Robbins starting in 3rd, Dom Parker in 4th, so it looks like he just barely missed out. It looks like it's possibly only the top 10 that have been flipped. As we get our red lights going, the revs are going to be climbing, and the launch is ready to go. Green lights, and we have good launches from Dom Parker. And who is that in the P2 car? It's going to be the second row that's going to lead into the first turn. Dom Parker and Thomas Robin with a beautiful start. Oliver Walker and James Riley just completely stalled on the line.
What was that? Audi was on fucking fire. That was like a rocket ship. I've never seen it start that fast. That was insane. Robin, congratulations to you. That was one of the best. Oh, goodness me. Someone off at the back there.
Oh, who was that? Well, it was one of your favorite Hondas, but it looks like we can't take a break for them as there's going to be a lot of chaos going down the field. We're heading into the Hairpin for the first time, and a lot of contact. Car sideways through the left-hand kink. It's going to be going into the deep Hairpin, avoiding any contact. We have a Honda sideways. It's able to recover and good recovery from all the drivers. Oh boy, it's been a more chaotic lap 1 than previously, and yet we still somehow have all of our cars.
Well, I'll tell you what, if race 1 was obviously had a gentleman's agreement, never mind having all of our cars, that was one of the Hondas being punted around there. Looks like a bit of an outbreaking moment into the first hairpin, second hairpin now moving through. Looks like Parker leading from Robin, from Walker, O'Reilly, Greening and Ettridge are our top 6.
Oh, geez, and I don't think it's going to be the top 6 for too long with the grid that's charging up from the reverse grid as we have a car off in the background and another 2-wide moment heading down into this tight section. The right-hander, this is for 3rd position here. Both cars are going to stay planted, and it looks like it's going to be Oliver Walker keeping that car planted on the outside as Dom Parker continues to lead this race. Thomas Robin, James Riley keeping it tight as we have a little bit of contact going to the final corners. We have a whole group of cars and an Audi's into the wall. Who is that?
Wow, that was lucky there not to overrun into that hairpin. That could have been a massive accident there. Well done for holding the brakes and managed to get that car stopped. It looks like, again, Risky Racing featuring heavily in this particular commentary video as they're just... Well, they're being risky and they're racing each other very closely. Goodness me, it looks like the 2 Rainford and Walker also may be charging through this particular field as well. We could see a double team battle. Risky Racing blue and orange versus the... what are these guys? I can't see because the liveries. I forgot the team name. Jordan, help me out. King Dix, there we go. King Dick, goodness me. I have dementia. King Dick versus Risky Racing. Who will come out on top here?
Well, keep in mind, Oliver Walker's not a hard charger. In fact, he's fallen like a stone. He started in P2 and he's now down in P7. So he's going to be looking to get some kind of recovery here. But we have Charles Rainford. We know his pace, and he's going to be getting pushed by Oliver. As now we're going to get a little bit of a side-by-side moment, a little bit of push and shove. Let him know, hey, I'm here. You need to give me the line. We're going to be going into the chicane side-by-side, and your position's now mine. But no, we have a little bit of a comeback by Oliver, and he's going to push Charles a little bit wide. He's going to keep that position around the outside.
That was well held by both of those guys through that second chicane. That was very, very tight. It's a notorious corner for A, crashing out on, and for me, ripping my wheels off in the Skip Barber.
Yes, but remember, these cars are relatively resilient there. The Skip Barber probably would have fallen apart. And we have a car off in the fast right-hander. Who is that? Looks like Jaden Burke in the background. He keeps it out of the wall. And we're going to be sticking on with Oliver Ettridge here as the battle's going to still be raging on with Charles Rainford, and he's going to get a better run. It looks like Oliver was a little bit deep, or we're going to get a little bit more of a push and shove. That Risky Racing really running the risk, running him out to the grass almost. Turn 1 could be the sign of tears here, but it looks like we're going to we're going to be maximum risk here as we go a little bit wide with Oliver Ettridge. He's not very happy with that move. He had no space. And it's going to be Oliver Walker capitalizing on that space, holding it around the outside here. What you said was a single line corner, and I don't think this battle is even close to over.
Goodness me, that was a bit of a cheeky move there by Charles Rainford on Ettridge, but Walker and Ettridge now side by side. Potential here for it all to end in tears to the fast right. Oh, nearly. Oh no, Oliver! He's gone round. It looks okay though, he can restart. That was just tagging the grass there with their rear right wheel. And of course, that's it. That's game over in iRacing. Goodbye. Spinala time. But yes, looking now at Stephen Greening, who's managed to, looks like gap the Charles Rainford behind, but I think we might see a hard charge from Charles this race. Goodness me, alliteration is the feature of this one. If marriage was the silly season LMP2, then this one is all about alliteration.
Yeah, it looks like we're having, if we're going down the marriage route, it looks like we have a little bit of polygamy here, which is all these large groups. Remember back to that race 1, 4 cars in 1 second. There's no one that can be separated here. As we jump back in with Thomas Robin, he's chasing down Dom Parker, and this is going to be a battle for the lead, a genuine battle for the lead, as these guys have been inseparable from the start of the race. But it looks like P3 and even Stephen Greening there in P4 is going to be sneaking back in, and this four-way battle may have gone from the middle of the field to the win.
Absolutely. The race now only has about 16 minutes and 30 seconds left, so there's still a lot of time for that top 4 to sort of shake itself out and get a higher resolution on who's going to be perhaps battling for the lead. But this is fantastic. What a track, what a set of cars, what a set of drivers. This is absolutely entertaining. Despite some bit of roughhousing at the beginning, looks like we've managed to curtail our enthusiasm, put down the adrenaline and focus, and stop some of the more egregious moves that we've seen so far.
Yes, but we have also now Charles Rainford is charging back up. He had set the fastest lap of the race this most recent time by, and he is in P5 chasing these guys down. So while this is the battle for the lead, these guys need to be watching their timetables, and they need to be ready for Charles Rainford to sneak up front. They can't battle too much. Dom just needs to run away, and Thomas needs to give him a little bit of a nudge. Say, come on, we need to get out of here. Yep, there we go. There's the flash as he wants to go faster, but Dom has been a roadblock for him this entire race.
Yeah, goodness me. It's almost like that scene in Jaws. You know, you hear the musical sting, you see the shark fin behind you of Charlie, and he is coming, and there's nothing that's going to stop him. Only time will tell. It's like a survival. It's, you know, you have 20 minutes to avoid Charlie. Go, run away very quickly.
Yes, and we'll see how many sequels get produced of Jaws, but here in the LOA, because there's going to be 4 possible movies that come out of this with Charles. He has 13 minutes. No, he has 13 minutes left to go. 7 minutes have elapsed as Dom is a little bit deep into the corner, and we have a battle going down the main straight here. Dom is rather slow. Thomas Robin is going to take him side by side here. This is going to cost a lot of time. This is all going to play into Charles' hands, and we get a little bit of contact, and Dom's going wide. Dom is in the wall, and he's out of the lead contention.
Looks like that front left wheel there has also been ripped off the suspension. Oh, and Thomas has gone round as well. He's been murdered. That's a double murder. Never mind Jaws. It's now bloody American Psycho.
Oh, geez. It looks like death race out here with what's going on, and it looks like there's some kind of plot armor going on for Charles. They want him to win this race. There was 4 cars in the lead, but now there's just 2. James O'Reilly now has inherited the lead, followed by Stephen Greening and Charles Rainford, now with just a 1 second gap between them.
Goodness me, that was everything changed in the space of 3 corners. O'Reilly now back into the lead, followed by Greening, followed by Rainford, followed by Messenger. Looks like this P1 to 3 battle just got very much easier for Mr. Rainford.
Yes, and that we have to be aware there's a lot of hard chargers going through the field. We have Graham Bardsley and Abbott have been up 5 positions each, as well as Autrickley is going to be up another 7. As we jump back in with James O'Reilly, and this is just heating up. We're only on a simmer, but we're about to turn on the high heat here, as James is going to get pressured not only by Steven, but Charles Rainbridge, and he's putting the pressure on hard. I think we only have maybe 3 or 4 laps of this left until Charles is going to be pushing some really aggressive moves on these guys.
Oh, absolutely. If you're Charles in this particular instance, this is perfect. You've been clapping your hands and putting your fist in the air, looking at the top two spin off there, or get murdered in the case of the second guy it went off. So yeah, Charles now looking to maximise time. He's now hot lapping. He needs to be clean, concise, nice low times. Looks like this is a battle now between Shane Abbott, Oliver Walker, and there is Nathan Parker going through in the Pink Panthers Honda, one of the most colourful cars on this particular grid.
Yeah, and surely can't miss him, and with how this second race has been going, that might be a strategic move just so people know he's there. As we jump back in with David Lectellier, who's down 2 positions, getting pressured by Jaden Burke as we have a battle for P7 here with 4 cars. Gonna be nice and tight, but we need to jump back into the lead battle here. Stephen Greening looking to make a move on James, and he's gonna get a nose in as James goes a little bit deep. But this chicanes, it's not a passing opportunity. He needs to back out, and he knows it. Charles Rainford has taken this opportunity to really put his bumper on the rear of Stephen Greening's. And they have a little bit of contact as James is getting pushed out wide by Stephen Greening. There's going to be a bad run for him down to the chicane, and here we go. Charles Rainford, this is the opportunity that he wanted. This is going to be around the outside move. Shades of Monza if they give each other space. Stephen cutting off his exit, and he's going to have to settle for another lap outside of the lead.
Beautiful run there by Charlie. Don't count him out just yet. By Charles, sorry. This could be a good run onto the final hairpin, or maybe even the first turn. But yeah, that was well driven by both of them there, and a good respect shown there from Charles to back out as he saw his nose was about to get chopped. Certainly very difficult to pass into these hairpins at Donington Park.
Yes, and then we're going to see Charles is looking for any opportunity he can with a late dive into the last corner. And there's going to be a little bit of contact. Classic TCR move, and Stephen Greening is shoved out of the way. Beautiful move from Charles Rainford.
What a move! That was. I'm speechless. That was just insane. What a bloody move! Late dive to the inside, locking on the brakes there. Just well, in response to, I think that might be a bit of a move out of anger by Greening there, doing a little bit of weaving, being a bit naughty. I think that's definitely a phrase for race 2 here. There's a bit of some naughty moves been going on. Will the disciplinary action be harsh and unyielding, or will these guys get away with it?
Yes, but I've said it time and time again, TCRs, it's a contact sport. Unlike your normal Formula races and GT racings where it's not exactly common, but that was a classic TCR move that was clean and both cars kept it on track. Of course, Greening with a little bit of a wide move afterwards, but now we back onto this P6 train. Oliver Walker leading ahead of Shane Abbott, David Lectellier, and Jaden Burke following up the rear. And I think we might have another 4-man train that could end in tears. We know what happened last time with the lead pair getting knocked out and the last 2 inheriting the positions at the end of the lap. But I'm not sure if these guys are going to be as complacent as they were in race 1, because this is for the final position in the final standings of the race. This isn't for a position for another race.
Absolutely, this matters now. The tactics in race 1, you can think, okay, let's finish like top 6 and maybe get inverted, get a few points, get the team up there in the standings. This race is all about the personal glory. This is the one. This is where you show yourself. How good are you? And of course, Rainford there coming up from P8 to P1 with now looks like 7 minutes to go. It's still all to play for. He is not particularly dropping Greeny. It's still 0.4 seconds between them. This could still play out, and it might end in tears. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, Stephen Greening maybe deciding to go to a little bit of Charles Rainford's school of TCR, maybe adopting his lines as we go a little bit wide with the pair, going down to the dive of turn 3. We're going to be, I'm sure Stephen is trying to do everything he can, and he's just getting pulled on by Charles Rainford. I don't think there's much he's going to be able to do. This gap is it's extending only slightly, but I just think Greening might not have it in him to keep with him.
It's one of the very frustrating things about this, especially when the cars are so close to the BOPs as they should be. It's just that you're there and you can see it, but you cannot get close. You're either holding or you're just being gradually gapped. So as we know how quick Charles Rainford is here through these corners now. Great line through there, perhaps slightly deep into that the first hairpin there, which might give Greening the opportunity to cling on a bit more. Yep, sector 3 there. Looks like Rainford is where he's getting the gap. Looking back now, this is P14. Oliver Ettridge looks like going for Gary Richards now. This is another Honda versus Audi battle.
Yes, and Risky Racing, Oliver Ettridge down 9 positions, so you know this is a position he's getting out of anger. He's not happy to be back down here because of the contact that he was having earlier in the race, so this is going to be a move to watch if he is able to get it on. He's not going to leave him any kind of courtesy. He is going to take this position with 2 hands, and if he's fought, then I'm sure it's going to end in a little bit more contact than Gary Richards would have liked. As we jump back to the quartet of Oliver Walker, Abbott, Lectillier, and Burke coming into the last corner here. 6 more minutes and 6th position to be had. We're going to make a final run down the straight here. Sorry, not a final run, but Lectillier tucking under Abbott's wing. We could see a move going into the hairpin. These guys have been nip and tuck the entire way. It's soon someone's patience is going to wear out. There's no telling when this battle is going to finally stir off and boil over.
Almost certainly, just it will be a case of capitalising on a tiny mistake, which looks like Greening has managed to close again onto Rainford. What happened there? I was talking about mistakes. Did Rainford clip the grass there? Maybe I saw a bit of dust through that the fast left.
Perhaps, but maybe even Rainford has used up his tires. Remember, these are front-wheel drive cars, so they do the braking, turning, and also acceleration. And Rainford has come up 8 positions where Greening has stayed stable in his position all race. He hasn't had to push, but Rainford's been using everything he could. So there is a possibility in the last couple of minutes here that maybe he's overheated his tires as we get nice and close. Greening giving him a little nudge. Yes, I'm here. Don't leave without me. I need this position. This is not going to come easy for Rainford. He wants the double, but Greening's going to get the run out down the straight in a little bit of a naughty move. Greening's still going to get an overlap. There's nothing left between these 2 cars, and it's a side-by-side. They're giving each other enough space. Greening's pushed a little bit wide. He's not going to be happy with that. We might see those light comes on or maybe a little bit more aggressive contact the next time they come in close.
Goodness me, that was well held there by Greening, and wow. Proper daredevil on the outside of that fast left-hander. Goodness me.
Oh, yes, and that we've seen that end in tears already. We've seen cars go off track, but there is no fear between these 2. Risky Racing Blue, he's either going to win the risk or he's going to be playing the blues as Oliver Walker leads once more this P6 battle. As it looks like Jaden Burke might be falling off from the tail end of this field. His hope might be that these guys battle and pull him back in, as we have Oliver starting to pull a little bit of a gap from Shane Abbott and Lectillier. It's
certainly
looking,
Oliver is currently the cork in the bottle that is this 6 to 8 battle.
Yeah, absolutely, especially with Burke dropping off. But again, this is going to boil over at any point. We've watched tempers flare a little bit already with Greening and Rainford. Walker is now leading Lectillier, and it looks like Lectillier, did he drop a position there?
I think potentially, yeah, it looks like he's down 1 on the our Delta there for the battle for 5th.
Oh, and we have contact into the second chicane, and then they're all tied to the traffic jam. Lectillier, he inherits 2 positions out of that. It was Abbott that went into the back of Walker, and Burke is going to be the biggest gainer out of that. He's going to get both brought back into the battle and also gain 2 positions.
Bless, that's good from Abbott there, knowing it was his mistake in stopping, but that might not save him from the stewards.
No, absolutely not, especially if there's any lasting damage on Walker's car. And Rainford and Greening yet again, there's nothing between these 2. It looks like Greening might even have the pace advantage at this point in the race. I think Rainford's going to be sweating bullets in that cockpit. It's a tin top. It gets hot in the cockpit, but it's going to be even hotter now as we're going to be running into turn 1. Greening takes a little look. Hey, look in your mirrors. I'm still here. I still want this position. You're going to have to fight for this win. I'm not going to give it to you for free.
Moving in now to the last 2 minutes of this race. That's probably about a lap. So this will be our last full lap, basically, before we get white flag next time around. So he has essentially 2 laps to get this done. It could still all end in tears, or it could end in ultimate victory for Greening. We'll have to see how he does. But this is incredible racing here from these top 2, considering that Rainford just checked out on the first race and just left by almost 7 seconds. I bet he's having now to, really showcase his skills and perhaps sweat a bit harder as Greening chases him down.
Yeah, then we see Patrick Outrickley having a quietly but very high gaining race. 12 positions that he has climbed throughout this race, as he's going to be chasing down Jaden Burke, who is the unfortunate benefactor of that accident that we saw in the first chicane here. He's going to see if we set up a move going down to the second chicane. As in the front, we see Lectelier, followed by Burke, Autrickley, Stott, and then Abbott are going to be filing out the final positions behind them. And it looks like we're just going to have a small little gap here. Autrickley's trying to bring it back in, but does he have the pace? He was brought back together by that accident. And Rainford, yet again, getting pushed through the right-hander, the double right, and for leading into the final corner. But Greening, he might have an overlap here to set it offline. And he's looking for an outside move. He's going to get filed out. Rainford is going to have to take that inside line with a little bit worse of an exit. And it looks like this race is far from over. There's one lap to go.
Yeah, this is it now. This is it. This is do or die. Either Greening will pass him or Rainford will win this race. And again, this is also do what. Look how wide they're taking it, maximising all those X's you can get. I think 17X is a penalty, and then 30X is a drive-through in these particular races. So yes, perhaps saving up some of their incident points there certainly saving up some incident point there to utilise the wider lines and carry as much speed as possible. But worth noting, Greening and Messenger, that's a Risky Racing Blue 1-2.
Oh, and we have a little bit of contact, regardless from the Risky Racing 1 and 2 in blue. Greening is showing Rainford the exit, and he pushes him wide.
What
and
a pass!
Beautiful move, the bump, the push to pass, and Rainford's not happy. This is not going to be the end of it. We're halfway through this lap, but this battle is not halfway over. Rainford's going to try for something. The pace has been evenly matched, as Greening has had a beautiful move in the hairpin. Rainford needs to build this momentum back up because there's only going to be one chance left after the chicane, as Greening's a little bit slow into this first chicane, defending, shutting the door in Rainford's face. This is only going to end in tears, or it's going to end in elation as they're side by side through the fast right flick.
Oh, that
Greening's
was naughty
off track.
for the...
Oh, but it was going to come. Rainford getting shoved off track as he's only returning the favor after you, but it's going to be Rainford. He just needs to bring it home. 2 more corners left in this exciting race, too, as the Risky Racing Blue is going to have to settle for a 2-3. Charles Rainford is going to take the double, 1 more corner to navigate, finishing out what was a monumentous race for him. Finally navigates the final turn as we bring it down the straight, and Charles Rainford finishing in first in front of a Risky Racing 1-2 of Greening and Messenger. Holy.
Wow, that was incredible. That was some of the most intense commentary I think you've done so far, Jordan. That was well held there. Never mind the driving. Take a breath, take a breather. So, of course, Rainford P1, Greening P2, Messenger P3, Bardsley P4. Lang P5 filling through now. Lechetelier P6, Burke P7, Abbott, Outercreen stopped P8, 9, 10 themselves. Estrid an unfortunate P11. It was a bit of a heartbreak to see the Estridge there dropping back. But yeah, that was insane from our top 10 there. What a fantastic race. Any closing thoughts, Jordan?
Oh, why can't we do this more often? I'm going to have to make sure that Dom doesn't commandeer our commentator's box anymore, because I surely don't want to miss another one of these races. That was the peak of my week, that's for sure.
Absolutely. So race 4 there, results on the screen. Charles Rainford is the winner, followed by Greening in a P2 0.3 second gap. Goodness me, what a race. Messenger P3, Landridge P4, Bardsley P5, Walker P6, Abbott P7, Lechetelier P8, Burke P9, Robin P10, Autericky P11. That's your top 11 there from the grid. Fantastic championship standings. This is the important part now. Rainford with a commanding lead. Stephen Greening jumping 3 positions up in the standings with 52 points. Parker retaining a 3rd place with a 42. Goodness me. Other notables on the grid there. Looks like the P9 through P15 is still all to play for. Incredibly close in points.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw that lead that Charles Rainbridge pulled from that double. That's going to be massive for the rest of the season. That's going to be possibly a turning point for anyone that wants to take a challenge. I know it's early in the season, but he is stamping his authority down nice and early as CCK Motorsport holds onto the lead, but Risky Racing Blue with that 2-3 jumps 3 positions to P2 in the championship standings. Then we were followed by LSR, Lesser Tools Limited, Wizards of Lifting Coast, QRS, Rope Kings, Ars Racing, Risky Racing Orange, CC Racing, Team Pink Panthers, and WWC rounding out our top 12 teams.
Fantastic. Well, this has been Limited Adhesion rounds 3 and 4. I think round 3 races at 3 and 4. Fantastic to have you here, Dom. And from all of us at the LOA, please follow us on social media: Discord, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. We will have active presence there. Thank you and goodbye.